3, and they would have Gio Gonzalez as their 4. A very good 1 through 4, especially in the National League. Now, why would they want David Price? Well, next year he can opt out of his contract, $31 million. If they get rid of Bryce Harper, who makes $22 million, maybe a little bit more, Daniel Murphy, Matt Wieters is also a free agent, $10 million. I doubt they bring him back, especially for that money. And if you move either Herrera or Doolittle, that money comes off the books as well. They can evenly swap Scherzer and still gain $60 million in the cap. As well, on top of that, David Price pitches well in small markets. He proved it in Detroit. He proved it in Toronto. He'll probably pitch well in the National League, especially with the Nationals. And if he doesn't like it there, if he hates it, he can opt out himself. So you either get a motivated David Price who wants to play there, or you take Erod and other guys like a Swihart and a Nunez, little deals with it, and then you still get cap space.
Yeah,
Convince me.
I don't see it. I mean, I hear what you're saying, but I don't see them wanting him. But
it would just
a
be
$60 million swap is intriguing.
It would be if they got rid of Harper, Wieters, and Murphy, and they took Rondon. Say they even keep Rondon, they get rid of those 2 guys, and then they give us Scherzer and Price. That's an even swap, basically. Without Price opting out, it's like $60 million. If Price opts out, $90 million, plus they get all the assets. And I would send over with David Price as part of this deal, in the hypothetical, I would send them Vasquez or Swihart, whoever they want. I wouldn't care which one they took. Nunez to play a depth role. He has a player option next year as well. We wouldn't need him anymore, especially with Phillips and all that. And I would send them Price. I would send them Erod. And if they needed another prospect in that, Chavez would be the instant guy to go. He's player block plus coming off the PED suspension. If you need to send Groom over, I would, but I wouldn't push it over the edge, especially if we're giving up the other 5 players. I think you get it done with that, and it clears up space for us, and it gets us Scherzer, and then we can go into the playoffs the next 2 years with Sale, Scherzer, Porcello.
It gives us a playoff competent pitcher, basically.
It gives us a playoff ace on top of Sale, who is, I'm going to go out there and say a playoff ace, even though he may have struggled.
As long as he's not playing Houston.
Exactly, against Houston. And then Porcello, who, a little bit of a wild card, but if he gives me a 3.5, 3.6 ERA as my number 3, I'm pretty comfortable with it.
I hear what you're saying. I understand that there's a significant net gain, by simply swapping them, with all the other players that would come off the books. But I don't see them wanting him. I don't think anybody wants David Price, to be honest with you.
I know. I mean, we view him very negatively here, especially because we pay him $31 million. But he doesn't play well in the 8th role. We've learned that. And if you put him as the legitimate number 2 in Washington, which he would be in Strasburg, protected by guys with Erod and Gio Gonzalez. And Gio Gonzalez has really found it the last 3 years. Erod, young, like you said, controllable, and also a very good pitcher, could turn into a legit number 2. It's a little more fascinating. Do I think anyone gets traded there? No. I think they end up buying. I think they end up getting another player or 2 by the deadline. Because
Wilson Ramos.
Yeah, Ramos maybe going back. I think they're so hell-bent on trying to keep Harper and make it to the World Series, make it to the playoffs, make a World Series run randomly, try and be the Royals or the Mets.
Which is stupid, but yeah, that's probably the path they will take.
Oh, 100%. And it's just it's frustrating because I would love to see some of those guys go. I love trades. I love the shakeup that it causes. And I mean, even look at the Red Sox. This month, still trying to talk a little Red Sox here. They're playing awful teams this month. And if you could add another pitcher like that, now this is more or less a fantasy trade, but if they started to sell, it's a realistic trade. And imagine bringing in Scherzer for August and September, where we have to play the Yankees 9 times, Houston 3 more times, Cleveland 8 times.
I would be thrilled with that. I mean, Scherzer and Sale, man, come on.
Scherzer and Sale better than if the Yankees got DeGrom. Even if they got DeGrom, which I don't think they would, I think they get Hamels maybe. So Severino, Hamels, CC versus Sale, Scherzer, and Porcello.
Is Sale, Scherzer, Porcello better than Verlander, Cole, and I guess Keuchel or McCullers maybe?
I want to say yes, but it's almost a push. I feel like it's pretty close because I feel like 1 and 2 might go to the Red Sox, but I feel like their 3 would go to them.
Right.
And I feel like that's kind of like, then it's like kind of like a push territory because of how good their 3 is.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, so many teams are sellers right now. It's so hard to put a market on anybody.
Yeah, no one's been dealt yet. Once that big name gets dealt, it kind of sets the preset for it. So Herrera in the bullpen. If you want a legitimate 8th or 9th inning guy, you're going to have to give up 2 or 3 top 15 prospects. That's what
everybody's waiting on Manny.
Yeah, everyone's waiting on Manny.
Wait, who is the first name? Who do you give up the 2?
Herrera.
Herrera for, when he went to Washington. He was a legit closer, can play the 8th and 9th inning. They gave up 10, 11, and then a middle of the pack prospect.
Which is nothing. Like, that's a nothing trade package.
Well, I mean,
it was more than we thought.
Yeah, I feel like a number 10 and 11 in your system, a good system, is kind of a lot like the Yankees' number 10 prospect isn't the same as ours. I feel like he's a little bit better, you know what I mean? And coming from a good farm system like Washington, I feel like they kind of reached on that, where they could have gotten away with like number 8 and number 20 and been like, listen, you got a top 10 prospect, we'll throw in somebody that could pan out. You give us the guy you're not even going to, sniff next year. So I think that's Washington being desperate as well. But I want to see where Donaldson goes because I'm so interested with his value now.
I think the injury setback really hurt his value.
Oh, it hurts tremendously. He can't play third base anymore. Like he's a borderline liability there now. So you'd think he'd have to go to an AL team that could DH him, unless they're gonna get first or something in the National League.
It doesn't help that his replacement is peeking over his shoulder either. Like he's just waiting to get called up.
No, yeah, Vlad Jr. has just been unbelievable. Everything is advertising more, and he's been great. But the Red Sox don't need to make that splash, and I'm really happy about that. This Scherzer trade is great. It would be awesome. We get rid of guys that we're not going to use. We shred some cap. It'd be great. But the good thing is I don't think the Red Sox right now need to make that deal, like a big-time deal. They're talking about right now a few guys in Miami. I mean, they're talking about bullpen guys. I don't think that's our first need, especially with Tyler Thornburg apparently coming back. But if they want to throw in Starlin Castro and a reliever or two, and we give them Chavez and a couple middle-of-the-pack guys, I'll do it. I'm not going to hate it.
I want Ziegler so bad, and I'm the only one. But
you are the only one.
Yeah, I don't even think Ziegler wants Ziegler here.
Well, yeah. I mean, if now that Farrell's gone, it could be a little different, but I don't know. Last I checked, his last 13 appearances had been scoreless, and I don't know. It's just a nice buy low guy, kind of like what they've been doing, and that's a move you make on July 5th. That's not a move you make on July 31st because you'd have to go with a more sure-handed guy.
Yeah, exactly.
But I'd love to see it one more time.
I mean, I wouldn't hate it if they threw Ziegler in the mix. If it was Ziegler, I forgot one of the other guys they're talking about, and Castro.
Valdi, they were talking about.
Second rider.
Yeah, second rider, that guy too. If they're talking about those guys, you want to throw in Ziegler and Castro or another middle infielder or something, I'd do it. If it wasn't giving up a ton, but they, I really like where the Sox are right now, position wise. I heard a stat today that if they win, I think 7 of their next 10 games, they will have won more games before the All-Star break than any other team in Major League history.
Really? Huh. I knew it was definitely franchise history, but yeah, that's impressive.
Because they would be if they won 7 games from now, they'd be at like 66 wins at the All-Star break, I think.
The Mariners, the other team?
Yeah, the Mariners being the other team. Well, no, they'd be at like 68 wins if they won 7. They're at 59 right now, so 77. There you go. So 67. There you go. Math. 67. And I mean, that'd be really good if they could win 7, 8 out of the next 10. That'd be big.
Yeah.
It's a possibility with the schedule the way it is too.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking about there's nothing too exciting for the Red Sox. They're playing the Royals, who are sellers. They're playing the Rangers, who are sellers as well. And after Cole Hamels don't have
should sell everything.
Yeah, the Blue Jays, they have Jay Happ, who is having a decently good season this year, and he's usually owned the Red Sox, but the Red Sox have kind of played him well this year, so you don't really worry about them. Out of the break, you have Detroit, 500 team. The Orioles are a disaster, and by the last week of July, you almost got to think that Machado's not even going to be there. And then you got 4 against the Twins, who we hit pretty well. So they got a chance to really do some damage here going into a very tough August and September. Anybody listening that hasn't looked at that schedule yet, go look at it, because we play a lot of tough teams, including Tampa, who has been very good as of late, a lot in the last month and a half.
September's brutal.
Bruce Shine was trying to make a case for them to maybe be a wild card today, and he was admitting that it's definitely a long shot, but he gives them a much better chance than so many other teams. And he mentioned the A's as well, because I mean they do have a history of miraculous second halves, but it certainly is looking like it will be Seattle. But
I mean, I think that is just. I mean, Seattle might win the division. I mean,
I don't think so, but
I would love to see that happen. Little ego check for that Houston team.
Yeah, like, do I think it's going to happen? Absolutely not. But I mean, it is July 5th. They are 1.5 games out. They're 8-2 in their last 10. They were pronounced dead 2 weeks ago. After
they were supposed to die last month.
Yeah, they lost 5 in a row. They got swept. They got embarrassed. They blew a 10-run lead in Boston, and they were basically going to be like, all right, maybe they'll scrape in. Maybe, if they're lucky, they'll scrape in. And now they're only 1.5 out with an amazing home record. And, I haven't looked at their schedule. I don't know how many more games at home they have. And, I'll actually look into that now while you guys discuss. But they could make a run at it. I don't think they will, but they could.
Pretty sure they also get Robinson Cano back here pretty soon.
They do. We can't play in the playoffs, but
right.
They already said that they are going to play him at second base a lot because it gives them the best, case to make the playoffs, and they'll kind of work in D. Gordon there.
I really like D at second.
Yeah, I love him at second. For the next 10 days, they only play 2 teams. They play L.A. Angels, Colorado, L.A. Angels, and Colorado.
I thought I heard, I mean, and maybe more has changed since then, but I thought Cano was going to split time with D. Gordon at second.
Yeah, they're going to work him in. Like, they're going to split the time.
Yeah.
Like, D. Gordon might be back in the outfield for some games, too, and stuff like that.
They're punishing him, basically, for it, and I mean, they may as well. I mean, he's not going to be the guy anyway, like we're saying. He's going to be ineligible, to play in October.
Yeah.
Here's another thing, too. Like, are we sure his wrist is going to be 100% by the end of the suspension?
We saw how bad it was with Bogey's hand last year. So, I mean, anything in that vicinity is bad for a hitter.
Yeah.
The good thing for them is they don't need him, and they're proving that they don't. Because when he went down, everybody was like, oh, man, like, is D. Gordon going to be able to play second? Who's going to play the outfield now? What if D. Gordon gets hurt at second? Then they're really screwed, but they've been better without him, I guess, arguably.
The ineligibility, I hate that word, of him in the playoffs is the best part of the suspension.
That is
the worst for Robinson Cano. That is a gut punch.
It's a good rule. It's a great rule.
Yeah, I agree as well. I'm not a steroid guy at all. I hope he doesn't get in the Hall of Fame for it. But
no, I'm not a steroid guy either.
Yeah, it's hard to find them.
I think there's a difference between like a banned substance, like I don't know. Yep, took Adderall without getting the doctor's thing like Chris Davis did. I don't think that's a big deal. I think that like you took a cream, you took a vitamin that in 2010 wasn't, illegal, but it is illegal in 2018. That's, something little. But if you're taking HGH, testosterone boosters, and or anabolic steroids, I feel like that's like its own separate category.
Right.
And I think that's such a bad thing for, a million reasons. In baseball, in life, as a role model, for your body. I mean, you're putting your body through a lot of stress, especially if you stay on those steroids your entire career, which someone like Cano is looking like he has, considering what you heard, the quotes from Teixeira saying that he's not surprised, especially back when he was on the Yankees. And now, he's like 32 or something like that. So still getting tagged for PEDs. His body longevity is not going to be good 50, 60 years old.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look at the WWE, for instance. I mean, I know that's like the weirdest comparison ever, but like those dudes are dropping dead in their 40s, 50s from rampant steroid abuse. So
Oh, yeah.
It's definitely, really